Hey, episode 72 of the Nashville Artist Podcast is now out, featuring Stephen Roberts. Stephen is an indie folk rock songwriter, singer, and guitarist with a love for aggressive inline skating. Stephen shares his early attachment to the Beach Boys' Surfer Girl and how a guitar solo from an Alter Bridge song moved him in 4th grade. He started learning Blink-182 and Alkaline Trio songs on the guitar. Stephen reveals unique music methods like stabbing a mug filled with change as a percussion instrument. Learn how Stephen and Christian Barraks, featured in episode 5, formed their band Mama Would Be Proud. Stephen approaches songwriting as if it were his last creation. He overcame reservations about electronic elements in music. His advice to artists is, it's going to be hard, but you don't need permission to create the art you want. Support Stephen by following Mama Would Be Proud on social media, streaming their music, and purchasing their discography on Bandcamp. He finds inspiration by learning cover songs and loves performing at Dark Matter Collective. His music influences include Bright Eyes, Animal Collective, The Beatles, The Beach Boys, Rolling Stones, The Doors, Blink-182, Oasis, Nimrod, Steel Train, and Sparkle Horse. Enjoy the podcast episode. In your beautiful face.
Hell yeah. I'll be right here.
Sweet. So what have you been up to today?
Work. Yeah. Spicy Boys. Yep. Making slinging po' boys and selling gumbo.
Wow. What is your favorite food there?
Favorite food there? Probably just the gumbo. It's like we won the Nashville Scene Critics' Choice for Best Gumbo in Nashville. So that should say it all.
Damn.
But it's good. Po' boys are great. Shrimp po' boy I ate today because I hadn't had it in a while, and sometimes you just need to have a goddamn shrimp po' boy.
Right?
But we got good food in general. We got red beans and rice. We also do really good spicy. Catfish. Like if you like catfish, we do catfish po' boy, or we do catfish strips, catfish platter, fries, coleslaw, potato salad, whatever you want. You know,
I'll need to tell you.
We smoke our own andouille sausage. I'm about to give you a little bit. We make our own boudin balls.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's classic, all classic Cajun food. The way your grandma would have done it if she was Cajun.
I gotta go. I went to New Orleans back in September and I had my first shrimp po' boy.
Where at? I might not know where because I'm from Texas. I don't know a ton.
Actually, I don't know the name of it.
Where was it good?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the food that I had was really good. I tried to have as many gumbos as I could.
Hell yeah, you got to. Seafood gumbo is good, but we've only done that on special. We do a traditional chicken and andouille sausage.
Do y'all ever do the broil or whatever?
Oh yeah, crawfish boil.
Crawfish boil.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do that when it's in season. So the season's about to start in like a month or so, right after Mardi Gras, I guess, is around when it starts. So they're going to be hauling up a bunch of crawfish, and we do big boils, and that's like when we do the most of our business is people come and they buy it by the pound, and they just hammer it all down.
What if they want to eat it at the restaurant? Do y'all have it like on a table or something?
Well, so that's how we could, well, sometimes for parties we'll do a table setup, but you kind of gotta like rent a table basically if you want to do that sort of thing. And then we cook it by the pot. We dump it on your table if that's what you want to do.
Really?
But yeah, but most people, what they do is the easiest way to do it is we sell it by the pound. So we just put it in like a basket, and we give you corn and potato, and hand you a basket full of crawfish, and you pay like 13, $15 maybe, you get a whole pound. And then if you need more, you come back and get another pound. Yeah, that's how we typically do it on those weekends. People could buy it by the pound, or they get something else and they get a pound of crawfish, and it's fun. They taste so good. It's wild.
That's amazing. A couple of years ago, Christian hit me up and was like, "Hey man, I'm going to this crawfish royal." And I got there, and I like stayed at the table like all day. And Christian's like, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember whose house it was. Or
It's probably Justin's house.
really?
Yeah. Was it on Sharp Avenue over in East Nashville?
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
That was Justin's house, and now he owns Spicy Boys. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was his
I
house.
probably met him.
Yeah, you 100%
Because that food
probably
was
met him.
amazing.
Yeah. And that's we used to play shows there too, because he had
That
like a
backyard?
PA. He had a PA, and so we would play I'm an Island shows there, and we would I played a couple Mama Would Be Proud shows there. It was and every now and then he even had people like traveling play there too. It was kind of like a house venue, but it was kind of like more low key than that because it was mostly just where they lived.
Right.
It wasn't like a party house, but it was like they like to do cookouts.
That backyard
it's kind of like
was
a different
cool.
vibe. It's
Yeah.
like the cookout house show as opposed to the party house show.
Right.
It was a little different.
Right.
Fun
The house
times.
doesn't have to get destroyed.
Not as much, yeah. It's like then at one point there was like a food truck out front. Yeah, the
Dude.
guy was like making I don't even remember what he was making. It was tacos, I think.
Man. That was amazing. So if that's his, then I've eaten his food.
You've had his crawfish.
I've had his crawfish.
Yeah. And that's what he does, and we do it Saturdays and Sundays every weekend when it's in season. And the season is from like middle of February to like, I don't know, May-ish, sometime in May.
Wow.
We have it all the way through then. And every weekend people just line up and get crawfish. We're like way busier during those times than we are any other time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to come by there then.
You should come by. You should definitely come by anytime.
Yeah.
It's also just a good place to get a drink because people really like drinking there.
Cool. Well, we'll get started.
Hell yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nashville Artist. I'm Jordan, and today Stephen Roberts is here. Welcome
Hi.
to my house. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
So you said you're from Texas? What part of
Yeah. I'm from Dallas, Texas area. Plano, Texas is where I'm actually from. But it's a suburb north of Dallas. Big suburb north of Dallas. Some people have heard of it.
What do you have?
Plain old Texas is with a joke that people always make. That's Plano, just Plano.
Oh, yeah, Plano.
There's a really great, not well-known country song called Plano, Texas. I forget, it's a good like Cody something does it. It is I got my plain old house. I got my plain old truck. My plain old whatever. It's like everything plain old. He's like, wait, I got that plain old girl, but it ain't that plain old love. It's just plain old good as it gets. So dumb. But I listen to it because it's the only, like, one of the few songs that's actually written about Plano, Texas. Yeah.
It seems like
I heard like an R&B one the other day too. Me and my girlfriend we look up what songs there are about Plano, Texas. She's from Michigan, but she thinks it's hilarious that there are any songs about where I'm from because it's like it's the most generic suburb you've ever been to. It looks like everywhere else in America.
Oh yeah,
and nothing to it. Like when I was growing up, it wasn't as built up. So there was like fields and cows and stuff, but by the time I was in college, cement everywhere. Just business, strip mall,
Strip malls.
yeah, fast food joint, church. By the time I was growing up, the whole thing, no more pastures and cows all gone.
Wow.
They just move them,
Right.
a couple acres that way, and then they do it again when that place gets built out. It just keeps expanding. The whole DFW, it just like gets, just expands, and now it's almost connecting to Fort Worth. It used to be like a separation of Dallas and Fort Worth, and now it's basically like the whole way to and from. You're going to find suburbs and people living there. It's like there's no more dead space in that area anymore.
Wow. Do you have any
city boy?
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got an older brother. He lives in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Is he into art and music?
No, not at all. He works for Walmart Sam's Club.
Oh wow!
Actually, yeah, he does like online e-commerce stuff for like bedding and bed stuff. I think is what the last time I checked up with him on what exactly he does at Walmart Sam's Club. That's what he was doing. He was doing like e-commerce stuff.
Oh really?
But yeah,
what's his name?
His name's Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
What about your parents? Are they into art and music?
Well, they like music and they like watching movies and watching television shows and stuff. My dad always liked more like rock music and stuff, and I feel like that might be a little bit where my interest in it kind of came from, outside of my own just wanting it so much. But he always liked the Grateful Dead, but he's not like a Deadhead, like the typical. My dad was a Deadhead. No, my dad liked Truckin', and he thought like that song was really good, or like Ripple, like the two songs that like everybody knows. My dad loved those songs, and then he'd be like, "I like the Grateful Dead,"
Right?
Yeah, or like my dad would be like, "I love Neil Young, Heart of Gold." Love that song. It's like, yeah, the one. It's like my dad loved music, but not like in the way.
Singles.
He's not like a like a musician or like somebody who like digs real deep and knows all the B-sides and that stuff. No, he knows all the stuff from when it came out, and if he heard about it, it's probably because it was really big, and like he's very practical in that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
what do your parents do?
My dad is retired now, but he's because he's like 69 years old at this point. But he used to be a salesman, basically. Like tax software salesman was mostly what he ended up doing. Tax software for businesses.
Okay.
Yeah. Very specific, but that's what he did. And my mom is an interior decorator, like your grandma.
Nice.
Yeah. But my mom just kind of like wanted to do it, and basically slowly over time her friends started asking her to decorate their houses for them. And that turned into her starting her own business. And then now she in the past like 10 years, like since I've been in college, she's like busier than ever. She like is involved with a real estate company, and she basically if people don't have their own idea for what's going to go down in their house when they buy the plot of land, my mom will design the inside of it for this, this area. She'll design the house. Basically, she'll like pick out what, goes in it, the oven, the dishwasher, the cabinets. Like, if you don't have an idea for yourself, she's like the on retainer interior decorator for like a whole development deal, basically.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And she used to just do it for her friends, and that's awesome. Really awesome for her. She's like just got a jetpack on her back.
That's awesome.
She can't stop working.
So what were you into as a little kid?
I mean, I've always been into music. Weirdly enough, but I mean, other than music, like skateboarding, video games, rollerblading, like extreme aggressive inline is what I was actually a lot into. We just like tricks on rollerblades, and like grinding and stuff. I loved doing that. Back then, in America, there was a little more of an infrastructure for that extreme sport. It's like I'm like struggling to even tell you about it because I'm like, that people do tricks on rollerblades, right? Like it used to be a thing, and it used to be popular. And it still sort of is, but it's a subculture, and it's like a very niche subculture, and it's really popular in Europe and abroad still, or more popular than it is here. Probably not really popular, but skateboarding, when Tony Hawk landed that 900, nobody cared about rollerblading anymore, and that was a big blow to me, a rollerblader at the time. Yeah. And I also I wanted to skateboard too. I had, and I was trying to skateboard as well, but I just wasn't as good at that. I was a better rollerblader. Oh man, it was a whole ordeal back then with the whole rollerblading versus skating thing.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, man. It was like people would make fun of you for rollerblading. They'd call you fruit booter. But skaters, in their infinite wisdom, took it upon themselves and we say, hey, fuck you. We are fruit booters. What, you think that's lame? To be gay? We are all gay. That was kind of it was literally like that, because people would be like, all rollerbladers are gay. And then rollerbladers are just yeah? Fuck off. It was just that's the way it was back then. It was just weird,
Right. Yeah, I knew a couple people that rollerbladed, but I tried it a little bit as a kid. But when Tony Hawk Pro Skater came out and whatnot, everyone I knew and older than me was in skateboarding.
Right. And I used to, the Trans World skateboarding, the big tome that they used to put out all the time. It was 200 pages. They had a version of that for rollerbladers called Daily Bread magazine. It's very small though. It's 80 pages, 60 pages, every week, on rollerblading. And then when they finally got gutted, that was a nail in the coffin for American rollerblading scene. It was the last thing that you could look at and see. It was pre-internet almost,
the
CCS
internet magazine.
Right? Yeah. It was not that it was pre-internet, the internet existed, but people were not using the internet in the same way at the time that Daily Bread aggressive inline rollerblading magazine went under. It was just. But yeah, I was really into rollerblading for a while. Always liked watching movies, just all sorts of movies. Early one, I loved watching The Truman Show. I always loved The Truman Show. I was go back to that one. Probably my first favorite movie was The Truman Show growing up.
Wow. Who was your favorite rollerblader?
Oh, definitely Chris Farmer. And he still rollerblades. He's still out there doing it. Chris Farmer. I got to meet him one time.
Really?
Yeah. I did a skate camp. There was a really cool skate camp in Plano, Texas. Eisenberg's, a home for skaters. It was the best. And they had three parts to the skate park. There's an outdoor part of the skate park. There's a big warehouse that has humongous ramps, big scale stuff. And that's where they do competitions and stuff. Wow. And then there was an indoor part that was smaller stuff where you could learn how to skate basically. And also do cool stuff, because some of it was kind of a little bit bigger. This is the biggest, coolest, skatist park possible. But it was so awesome. The guy who owned it, his name was Arlo Eisenbergs, and he was one of the biggest professional celebrity rollerbladers of the late 90s, early 2000s. He was on the X Games. I think he won. I don't remember, but I think he won at one point. But yeah, that kind of led him into starting this really cool skate park. They did a summer camp, and yeah, that's how I got to meet Chris Farmer, my favorite skater.
Wow.
He was a counselor at the skate camp. That's how much of a big deal this skate camp was. They had actual professionals come and be the counselors.
Wow, yeah. That's awesome.
He wasn't my counselor, but we had a bowling night at the end of it, and I got to meet him on the bowling night.
Nice.
Yeah. He was cool.
Do you still inline skate?
My skates broke a couple years ago, so I haven't done it since then. But I would every now and then I'd bust them out, and I'd try to show people that I could still do tricks. Which was always a little sketchy.
Like jumping staircases?
Right. Well, yeah. So like one time in like 2017, I want to say, me and Christian, Christian, my bandmate, we left the house and we were like, all right, we're gonna rollerblade to Subway, and we're gonna skate back and bring the Subway back, and we're gonna eat Subway at the house. And we're like, all right, cool, that sounds great. Yeah, the Subway will keep while we're rollerblading.
Right.
I don't know, I'm gonna high, just yeah. And so we're rollerblading there, and then like, so that, I don't know if you've been to Nolensville. There's a Subway on Nolensville, and it's kind of like the situation where you park, you're kind of at an incline. When you're looking at it, it doesn't look like much of an incline. And that's kind of what I was imagining. And so we're leaving the Subway. We put back on our skates. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let me just... And I just turn around with the skates on, and I don't think about how it's inclined. So I just... Boom, and I just shoot right down onto my knees and then onto my face. Luckily, my face didn't take much of it, but my knee got messed up so bad. And I started to black out like immediately. And like, I wasn't even trying to do anything, I just fell and hit my knee on the ground. I started to black out. We had to call my girlfriend. Oh no, I don't know. We didn't call my girlfriend. We called Dalton, my roommate.
Oh yeah, Dalton.
Yeah, Dalton. Yeah, that you also need to interview Dalton.
Yeah, dude, definitely.
He plays with everybody.
Yeah,
he plays drums with everybody. Amazing drummer.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, Dalton came and picked me up and drove me. I remember being in the back of the car, just like seeing stars, complete stars. And they were like, "Do you need to go to the hospital?" And I was like, "No, do not take me to the hospital." I was like, "I need water and to lie down," because I knew I was just hurt, like pain, sometimes like extreme pain will make me like start to feel like I'm about to pass out,
right.
or like it'll make me not be able to see. Actually,
yeah,
it's happened a couple different
get lightheaded.
times. Yeah, it's happened a couple different times. And it's also happened, like the whole blacking out thing has happened to me just from like standing up too fast. It used to happen to me at church growing up. Because at Catholic Mass, surfer girl, like I thought like I was the protagonist of the song Missing This Surfer Girl. And I was like 6 years old. I don't even think I knew what surfing was. But I was like, where is she? I miss her.
I'm supposed to have a surfer girl.
I'm supposed to have a surfer girl. It was like, so like something about that song just made me like feel so sad, and I never forgot. But like good at the same time, like sad and good at the same time. Brian Wilson is the best at that.
Yeah.
Thank God he's still with us.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I just love that, and that's one of my like earliest memories. And then after that, I don't remember how I got it, but I had this CD, and it was like the first CD that was like mine. It was given to me, I think. I mean, I might have like gotten it as like, like a present at some like party or something, but it was called Millennium Funk Party 2000. And it's exactly what you think. It's just the best funk songs of all time. You got Brick House, you got Jungle Boogie, like Get Down on It, like
right.
all the way to Shooting Star, they're on there, and so like I heard that and I was like, this is great, and I don't know, that didn't like immediately lead me into being like into like soul and funk music, but like that was kind of like a bedrock of like pop music for me, was that Millennium Funk Party 2000. Like I was like, music is awesome. Like music is fun. Like that kind of solidified it for me. Like that music is just impossible to deny. It's all so good.
Yeah, you can't help but tap your foot.
Right? Yeah.
Much less dance.
Right.
What was your first instrument?
Guitar. Definitely guitar. I really wanted to play guitar. And like I'd been asking, I really wanted to play drums, but my mom just immediately was like, there will not be a drum kit in this house. And I was like, well, that's fair enough. Like she just like would not I used to like put trash cans together and try to play the drums.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to be a drummer. But so eventually I was like, okay, I want to play the guitar. The first time I like really thought I need to learn how to play the guitar, and this is kind of hilarious and maybe even a little embarrassing, but we were listening to the radio on the way to like a restaurant or something, and there's some Alter Bridge song. I forget what it's called, but I remember the solo because that's what made me think like I gotta learn how to play the fucking guitar, because that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Is a Mark Tremonti guitar solo. Is like. And I was just like, oh shit, I've never heard anything like that fast before.
Oh yeah.
It's like the first like, fast guitar I really ever heard was this Alter Bridge song. And that was like me being like, okay, I want to hear the guitar. I want to play the guitar. So when I was like in 4th grade, I got like a starter. It was like a Gretsch guitar that was like, you know, like $150, you know. Yeah. But it was a Gretsch guitar, you know, it was like it kind of looked like a Les Paul, the Sunburst, you know. It was nice, actually. It was pretty cool. But it was, you know, like their starter version of a guitar. And I had that for a really long time. And that's how I learned how to play guitar. I would like learn Alkaline Trio songs. I would learn Blink-182 songs. I remember trying to learn What's My Age Again, but it was too hard. I hadn't progressed to that level yet, so I had to learn like other ones. And so I remember learning Continental by Alkaline Trio. It goes like I remember that. And then Stay Together for the Kids. That one was a little easier than What's My Age Again, so I learned that one first. And then oh man, yeah. The first lessons I took were at a church. I had a Korean guitar teacher named Jay Kim. He's a very nice guy, but he's very serious. And he would be teaching me Christian songs because it was at a church. And it wasn't, I grew up Catholic. I don't really care about religion very much in my personal life, but I grew up Catholic. Yeah. And this wasn't a Catholic church, but so I was playing all these songs that I'd never heard before, but they're like Christian rock songs. So I was like playing God of Wonders, a song that they did not play at Catholic Mass at the time. Maybe they do now, but they didn't used to play it. And so I remember learning the God of Wonders solo. That was the first guitar solo I ever learned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I could still do it. Wow. It's a pretty boring solo, but yeah, it was the first guitar solo I ever learned. God of Wonders.
God of Wonders.
But yeah, he was funny, and the seriousness I was talking about. I've never met anybody else who did this. He made me like learn like strumming patterns, but like was very specific about it, and he'd be like down, up, down, 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 up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. And I'd be like, oh my God. And he'd be like, no, you down, 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 up, up, down. What you needed to do was down, down, up, down, down, up. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, really? Is this what it is? You know, like I would get frustrated with him. And eventually I stopped taking it. I think he had to like take a break. And then I never came back after the break. And I had another teacher who was much better. Or just like more like what I wanted from the guitar. Not that he was a better teacher. They were probably about equal as teachers, but you know, yeah, I moved on to a different guitar teacher, and his name was Taylor McKenna. And you can actually listen to his music. He made music back in the day. I think now he's a psychologist. He's like a doctor now. But at the time he was like honestly like the older brother into music that I would have had my older brother actually been into music. my older brother's mostly into video games when we were growing up. And so right. I played video games with my older brother, and that was kind of like how we bonded and stuff. But he let me, I would show my older brother music, you know, whereas like with my new guitar teacher, Taylor, he was kind of like, he could tell me about like what music was like when he was growing up in the 90s, you know, and like when Oasis was big, and he'd show me how to play Rage Against the Machine songs and stuff, you know, and like would show me how to play Wonderwall and Beatles songs and like whatever. And also it's like, so he taught me a little bit like of music theory. And so like I'd be learning from like a Mel Bay book. Actually, do you know Mel Bay books?
Yeah,
the classic like music books. Yeah. Tangentially, I'm somehow related to Mel Bay, but that's besides the point. I learned from a Mel Bay book how to like play guitar and read guitar music, but I never really got very good at reading music. I kind of flatlined at like a certain level of like, once you put chords on that, I was like, I can't. Reading them like up and down, you know, you want me to do that? I can't. I just like my brain couldn't handle all the notes, and so eventually I stopped taking the lessons from him too. But that would be the first half, would be the music theory, and then the second half of the lessons would be he would say, bring in a song, so I could bring in any song I wanted. Half the time for me, it was like Beatles, Bright Eyes, like stuff like that, you know, whatever I was listening to. Blink-182, punk rock, right? Pop punk. This is all middle school that I'm kind of talking about, like middle school and like maybe ninth grade. I guess I stopped taking lessons from him around the time I was like a sophomore, junior in high school. So I'm really kind of talking about the early days of all that. Yeah, and I've definitely been listening to lots of pop punk, Green Day, a little bit of Green Day. I liked Nimrod. That was the one that I had on CD. I really like that song, Scattered. It sounds like America. The
Green Day.
Yeah, it's Sister Golden Hair. Kind of, I got some scattered pictures lying on my bedroom floor. Reminds me of the times we shared.
Yeah, it does sound like
wish that you would. It's like a punk rock version of Sister Golden Hair. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. You know,
dude, Blink-182 is the reason I started playing drums. Travis Barker was the reason I started playing drums.
Oh yeah, man.
I was like 13.
Yeah.
It's like, he's badass. I want to be like him.
Dude, I mean, like, you don't gotta convince me.
Yeah.
That shit is so cool. What he does on the drums is just out of this fucking world.
His compositions.
Like, yeah. Right, yeah. It's like, what he did on those, like, Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, self-titled. What he did on those 3 albums, is like, shows you how you can contribute as a writer and a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and how much you can change a song just by like going like in the middle of your chorus or something, you know, or on like stuff that he like that song, like Time to Break Up. That song was on the Atticus compilation. That shit was so important. The Atticus compilations were so, and the Warped Tour compilations, that shit was like, you know, manna from heaven back in the day. Because It's like, you get the fucking Warped Tour CD, there's like 52 bands on that, man. Like, that was
2 minutes long.
Yeah, every song's like 2 to 3 minutes, and then before you know it, it's on to the next one. You're like, do I like this band? You know, before you know it, 52 new bands. And half of them were awesome, you know. Yeah. Half of them you don't remember, but you know, who cares? And when you go back to it now, it's all still there in your brain. Like I went through like a whole phase in high school where I was trying to like not be into like pop punk and punk anymore. You know, I was like, right. For a second, I was like, metal, you know, like I thought I was going to be into metal, and then I realized I couldn't play metal on the guitar because I wasn't good enough, and I realized that I looked like a fucking dork, and I was never not going to look like a dork. So I was like, I don't know how good at metal I'm going to end up being, like projecting as like a metalhead, but I really loved Metallica and Ozzy, and I was like this all just comes from reading Guitar World way too much, you know? Like, I'd be like reading Guitar World and like reading like shit about like Shadows Fall and me being like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And then I'd like try to do it and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not this person. I'm in 8th grade. I don't think I can do that, you know? And so like eventually I had like all these like hip friends and like, they had been through all the same stuff that I had, where they're like, I don't want to listen to punk anymore. I don't want to listen to, eventually, I don't want to listen to rock anymore. Right? It's like, what do you like? And then they got super into the indie music, basically.
Right.
And during, when I was in high school, 2006 to 2010, that is like the time where people were like, this indie pop and indie thing, just indie. Like when you remove the indie rock, and you're not talking about like 90s indie rock anymore. It's like that indie sleaze, blog rock, whatever the fuck people call it, you know. That's when I was in high school. That's what I experienced. It was a big deal for me at that time, like that whole movement, and like hearing Animal Collective blowing my freaking little high school brain off before I'd ever even smoked pot, you know, like I loved it, you know. And the first time I heard Animal Collective, I hated it.
Right.
I was like, they sound like they're not trying. And my friend was like, they're the best band ever. You're a jackass. And I was like, no, I'm not. You know. And then I like a week or two later, I'm like, yeah, they're the best band ever. You know, like you're right. You know, I listened to it again, and you're right. You know, I hear it now.
Which album was it?
Feels. It would have been Feels. Okay. Yeah. That was all like Grass. Was the song that I heard. Yeah, I heard Grass and I was like, this sounds terrible. And then a week or two later, I listened to it again. And I think it was just, maybe it was just having already have heard it, you know. It didn't shock me the second time. I'd already heard it. Right. And so once the shock of hearing it for the first time as like a kid, never heard weird music. Once it wore off, I was like, oh, I can hear the song actually. And then I was like, this is amazing. And then from that point, full stop, they're my favorite band, you know, like, you know, whatever, you know, I'll fight you. Did you talk shit on my boys and Animal Collective? You got fists going, all right? Right. You got Lefto Charlie and you got O'Malley here on the right, all right?
Dude, yeah, Animal, Panda Bear, I mean, they're all Geologist, Baby Terror, Beacon, they're all amazing.
Saw Avi Terra in September at the end.
Oh wow!
And Geologist opened. It was fucking awesome. I've seen them in a couple different configurations. Always awesome. Always.
Have you seen cool. Panda Bear?
I did. I saw him at Exit In on Panda Bear versus Grim Reaper.
Dude, yeah. I remember when that happened. Yeah. That was like 2017, right?
Yep, 2015.
2015.
Yeah, 2015. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the tour might have happened a year after that, but that's when the album came out. It was 2015. Oh man, that show. It was so good, and the music was awesome. But the vibe beforehand was so weird because, like, you know, it's like I've been to Exit In a bunch of times. I was just kind of hanging out, and there were like a lot of people there, and then like this kid comes up to me, and he was just like, "Yo. You hook me up with acid?" And I was like, no. Why do you think I would have acid? But like, I was like, why would you be saying that to me? And he was just like, come on, man. Don't you know where I can find acid? I'm like, no, I don't fucking know. And he just like kept hounding me. Like every time I go outside, like, you know, like to get some air, he'd be like coming back to me like, are you sure you don't know? And I was like, what the hell's wrong with this kid?
Are you a dark?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I thought he was like trying to bust me or something. Because I mean, like, I was there having a fun time.
Right.
But like, I was by myself, you know, and I was like, not going crazy, you know, and I was just like not trying to like talk to anybody about it. You know? Like, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Having a religious experience.
Right, yeah. It's like I'm just trying to watch Panda Bear, and when the strobes hit, I want to feel it. What can I say? You know?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a fucking good one. Yeah,
that album is incredible.
Yeah, that's like bangers.
I had
Tropic.
I haven't listened to Pan Bear in a while. I need to go back and listen to him.
Yeah, dude, he's the shit. His newest album, the collab album with Sonic Boom, awesome, fucking great. If you like person pitch, yeah. I would say the newest one, Reset, with Sonic Boom. It's the closest the music has sounded to person pitch since person pitch. Wow. I'd say, because it's like very sample based, and like you can really hear the track that they're sampling. You know, it's like there's like a Trog sample. It's like almost like weird, like mariachi kind of stuff. Or I don't know, Save the Last Dance is in there, I think, right? Yeah. Oh shit. Wow. But yeah, it's really cool. But it's like it's super sample based and like cut up, and and then he sings over it. It's really interesting.
Did you play in any bands in high school?
Yeah, with Christian.
Oh yeah. What were y'all called?
Yeah, we were called Thrift City.
Thrift City.
Yeah. There's a chain of thrift stores in Garland, Texas, where Christian is from, called Thrift City. And the first time we ever got together to jam with our drummer Evan at the time, Evan Douglas. He was in Mama Would Be Proud too, but he lives in Arkansas now, so hard to get him to play shows if he's living in Arkansas. But he's still in the band.
Yeah,
he never got. Nobody ever gets kicked out of Mama Would Be Proud. If you were ever in the band, you're still in the band. Whatever. I'm not gonna be like you're not in the. I'm not give a shit. Like also like no one's looking. So we're safe here. But Evan played drums, and we went to Thrift City 2, like the numerical 2. And then we went and jammed. And so it was between Thrift City or Little Wooden Dangly Thingy. The thing that you pull on with the fan? Yeah. That was almost the name of the band. We were like trying to come up with names. And then so at one point, I don't remember who said it, but somebody goes, just look around and what do you see? Because we couldn't come up with anything to save our friggin' lives to name this goddamn band. And eventually, Christian looks up and he goes, Little Wooden Dangly Thingy. And so for about 3 hours, we were Little Wooden Dangly Thingy. And then we went to Thrift City 2 and we got some cool outfits because we wanted to look cool. Be in our indie band. Because we wanted to be like an indie pop band, basically. I don't know if you've ever heard of Steel Train. I'm sure you know Jack Antonoff from Bleachers produces Taylor Swift.
I think so.
Yeah, his first band was called Steel Train, and I was really into that band. They're really good. At first, they were kind of like an indie jam band or something, and they kind of had this weird, we play bluesy, folky stuff with guitar solos and cool grooves and stuff. And then they, immediately, second album, pivoted to straight indie pop, just pop rock, biggest fucking hooks you've ever heard, and incredible killer guitar tone. That guy, Jack Antonoff, could play the fucking guitar. I know because I saw it back then. It was awesome. It was so good. We wanted to be like that version of Steel Train, that pop rock band that is fun and rocks, that's what we wanted. And the album was called Trampoline, was the one, the Steel Train album, that we wanted to be like that. And then, once we started playing our first couple songs, we wanted to try to get weirder, but we never really got that much weirder. We pretty much stayed in that lane of pop rock. I got a delay pedal at one point, and things got a little bit post rock, but it was still indie pop. We were playing some pop rock. I could show you. I've got it. I still got it. I've got all the recordings. And then, so that was kind of me and Christian's main thing for most of the beginning of high school. And then the senior year of high school, things kind of changed a lot because Christian joined this band Gaffney with Ben and Chris Littlejohn. Bennett Littlejohn is now in the band Howdy, and he's also just a really, really amazing producer. Everybody goes to him now and gets their record mixed or produced or have him play on it because he's also an amazing bass player, pedal steel player, amazing guitar player. He's like a wonderkind. He's younger than us. You know, me and Christian joined his band when he was 14 and we were 17 and 18. You know, and I joined his band and he was 14, writing these amazing fucking like indie rock, but fucking like Replacements, basically just fucking Texas Replacements, you know, like the Replacements, but a little Southern and like, I don't know, even sloppier, like maybe, but like Chris Littlejohn, his brother, was the best drummer I've ever seen perform in my life. Still to this day, me and Christian talk about him as if, you know, like we're like, that's the best.
Does he still play drums?
No, only privately. Yeah, I think only privately. I don't know if I'd really be comfortable with this going out there, but he had to go to like rehab and stuff, and I think that might have stopped him from playing. But yeah, no, he's the best fucking drummer, and he always Ben and Chris, they had like the greatest appetite for gear that I've ever seen anybody. Even to this day, back then, nobody matched them. Like, you'd go over to their back house, and just everywhere would just be like a microphone or a pedal or, you know, whatever. And like, you know, drum here. He had like 6 drum kits, you know, like Ludwig here, Rogers here, another Ludwig, you know, like one the Gretsch, Catalina, you know, right there. And then at one point, like when I first met him, it was incredible. He had like made this monster Frankenstein kit of like just like intentionally trying to make it as big and ridiculous as possible, and it was the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was so awesome. It's all these vintage drums, just like all different colors and just beautiful, pristine, all sounding incredible. This kid is just like a whip, you know. It's like it was so cool. Yeah, but Gaffney was the name of that band. And that was a big like learning curve for me because I wasn't as good of a musician as anybody else in that band. Like, I wasn't as good at playing the guitar as Christian was at playing bass. Christian was a better bass player than I was a guitar player. And Ben was like an incredible guitar player. Chris was an incredible drummer. They were nice enough to let me join as the 4th guy playing rhythm guitar. And I remember one practice, Chris Littlejohn was like, "Do you practice with a metronome?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "You should." And I was like, ah. Like from that moment on, I did practice with the metronome, or like for a while. I mean, I practiced with the metronome back then. I would do it, you know, because I knew I needed to like get better because like he called me out and I was like, I guess like, I never do that. You know, he's like, that is literally what I never do. So I can't really fight you here, you know? And yeah, that was just the coolest band to be in. I also learned about drinking in that band.
All the rowdiness.
Right, yeah. And it was a very Replacements in that sense too. We were like, you know, like most of us were 18, 17. Ben was 14. And we're like in the car before the Battle of the Bands shotgunning Tecates. Stupid shit, you know, just the stupidest shit you can imagine. Like, and then we come walking in a cafeteria in Bishop Lynch, Dallas, Texas. Anybody listen? We go in, we just fucking play rock and roll and be drunk. High schoolers, right? Stupid, just awesome, right. Just nothing. You know, I don't know if there's the pure risk. There's that, dude, in the office when they're talking about like the sex pros. I watched this last night. They're like pros and cons of sex, and then Creed goes, "The thrill of pure risk." That's what playing in Gaffney was like at all times. Because not only was I expected to like play really well and be really like good on stage, I was also expected to like hang and like be partying with them too. Like, right. not like in like a you must do this, but like if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have been in the band, you know, like if I didn't fit in, you know,
right.
And I knew how I fit in it, but it was just so much fun. But yeah, it was like the thrill of pure risk. It was just like anything could fall apart at any moment for any number of reasons. But we kicked ass and took names every time we fucking played. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that shit was the best.
So why would you say you're drawn to art and music?
I'd probably say like I don't really know why. I just know that I have to. At a certain point, I get like antsy if I'm not like doing something creative, and I'll get kind of like irritable if I'm not like working on anything. And so eventually, I just kind of it's a compulsion, I guess. Art is kind of just like a compulsion to me. Yeah, I don't really know if I have an answer to why I was drawn to it, but I just knew that I was, and that once I started doing it, not doing it really bothered me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I just kept doing it, whether anybody cared or not. And that's how I'm still here.
Oh yeah,
Still making new music.
yeah.
All the time.
How do you have routines? How do you go about developing your artistic skills?
I really don't have a lot of artistic routines. What usually happens, because I consider myself a songwriter, and I would say I'm a musician second, you know, a musician performer second. But my like first thing when I like think of myself and my connection to like my music and my art is like I'm the songwriter. Like I want to put it all together, you know, and I want, if I happen to be the one who plays everything, so be it. But also I would, you know, if other people are going to play on it as well, I want their input and my input to all come together. You know, I like collaboration in that regard, but I can kind of consider myself, you know, the songwriter first and foremost. What was the question again?
Do you have like routines for your arts, or how do you go about developing your?
So yeah, I basically, usually what happens is I'll either have an idea for a melody, or I'll have an idea for a lyric or title of something. And that's like something that I've kind of figured out over time. I used to just go in blind, and like if I had a little idea, I would just start writing and try to finish. And basically it's all coming up with one idea that you like and want to stick with, and then finishing it in some sort of way. And that's basically like all I've ever done, is I have one idea and then I finish it. But it either comes as a melody, a lyric, or a title. And lately, for a while there, I feel like I used to maybe have routines, and I would like always play every day, and I'd always practice, or I'd like a song every other day, or write a song. I remember one summer I wrote like 30 songs or something, and it was like basically like every other day I'd write a song, and I was like, oh, I fucked up the mic. Every day I would like walk around the house with my guitar, because I was like, everybody living in the house had like gone home for summer, and so I had like a whole month to myself in the house alone. That was like a house for 4 people. And so I'd walk from room to room with my guitar, and I'd like walk back over to my notebook, lying there, and I'd be like, la, 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 la. And then I'd like practice all my songs. And I pretty much, that's, if I have a routine at all, it's that I practice my own songs, especially my newer songs. I'm always trying to remember the lyrics to my own songs. It's a prison of my own making. There's like a lot of lyrics, and I have to remember them all.
Yeah.
Especially like when I'm like trying to like introduce songs to the band, and I'm about to like be like, yo, we gotta start recording. Here, let me play you it. You know, when I'm there and I can't remember the second half of the song, I can just watch their eyes glaze over. You know, they're like, yeah, if only you could remember the second verse, you know? And I'm like, yeah, maybe if I got my notebook, and I'm like, you know, oh yeah, looking at my like chicken scratch handwriting, you know, it's not, doesn't go well. So yeah, that's, I guess, my main routine is I practice my new songs. When I sit down and pick up my guitar, I practice my new songs, or I blindly look up covers and like try to play country songs or try to play Bright Eyes songs. So still try to play Bright Eyes songs. But you know, I just like looking at like when I'm practicing other people's songs, I just like looking at chords. I don't really think too much about tabs and stuff like that and trying to learn people's guitar parts. I don't really do that. I just look at the chords and the lyrics because what I want is to be able to sing the song and play it at the same time. Yeah. So I just look at the chords, and if I happen to figure out a little guitar thing on my own, I'll just do it. I basically just come up with new versions, my own versions of, pretty much just do my own cover versions of songs, like while I'm practicing to myself. I've got like a million voice memos of me doing like all these random ass covers. I put a couple of them out on SoundCloud, but SoundCloud is a whole rabbit hole that we could go down on a conversation there. Like people used to listen to SoundCloud, my music on SoundCloud. People used to like go to it, and I could like post in groups. There were all these groups on SoundCloud of like experimental musicians union, you know, it's like, and they'd all have like 3,000 followers, and you could go post in there, and then people would listen to your song, and you'd look at your listens go up, and people would be commenting like, this song rocks, love this part, or like whatever, you know, and like it was really awesome. And then I don't know what happened to SoundCloud, but the groups went away, and so did the listens, because now nobody listens. So like SoundCloud to me is like my little private corner of the internet, and I like go and I post like my little shitty voice memos of me doing covers up on there, just for my homies who I know still are on SoundCloud and do the same thing that I do, you know, like right. Put out little covers here and there, like I do it for them, you know, right? But like, yeah. But that's, I mean, that's a one way I practice. I play cover songs, for sure.
Nice. Of all time, who would you say are your favorite bands, artists?
I mean, Bright Eyes, Connor Oberst. He got the hook in me really, really young. There was a new kid at school, and we were talking, and we were like, we basically figured out that we liked the same kind of like punk music, basically. And he was like, you need to check out Taking Back Sunday and Bright Eyes. And then he was like, and then the next day, he like brought me a Taking Back Sunday CD. He just like brought me a burnt CD, and he was like, here, listen to this. And I was like, okay. And so I had that Taking Back Sunday CD, and I'm like, this is great. This kid is right, you know? What's that Bright Eyes band about? And so I went in blind, and I bought I'm Wide Awake This Morning at Target, and then it opens with that like spoken word thing, and then I was like completely baffled by it for a while, like probably for like a month or two. I was listening to it, and I bought it, you know, with my own money, and I was like, I'm gonna like it, you know, because like I didn't get it, but I could tell that it was like smarter than I was, being like a sixth grader at the time or whatever. You know, I was like, this is a lot, like this is over my head, you know. I was like, but I'm gonna get it, because there was like a couple songs on there that I immediately liked, but like the rest of it was a little slower, and I was like into punk music, and I wasn't expecting country folk Bright Eyes record, you know, the most country folk Bright Eyes record. I wasn't expecting that kind of music from the guy who just gave me the Taking Back Sunday CD, you know? Yeah. And so like, I was like doing all this like mental gymnastics in my head. I'm like, why does he like this? You know, like what does he see in this that I don't hear in this immediately, you know? And from there, that was like learning the Bright Eyes story and the Saddle Creek story, Saddle Creek Records story, basically just like a complete DIY scenario of kids who are just normal ass fucking American kids who are like, let's start a label. And then they did, and it went well. Like, that's such a cool story. It made me think that I could do it. And we tried. It didn't happen. Me and the Rachel guys, we tried. We had Paco tapes, and we tried to, have the scene be at their house, and and like we really wanted it to take off. It just didn't take off. But it was the best time of my life. It was awesome. Oh, but yeah, Bright Eyes was a humongous influence. Just the story, everything about it. That was a big change in my life. And like learning about indie in general, learning about DIY, whatever you call it, like learning that people can do it. You don't need permission from some major label, to make weird shit. You can make weird shit on your own, You don't need anybody to tell you anything. You can just do it. And I loved that. And so that was awesome. But before that, I was super into the Beatles. I was in a Beatles tribute band when I was in high school. All the other things I've been talking about, me being in high school, I was also in a Beatles tribute band that performed exclusively at my high school. But I was in a Beatles tribute band, and I was in the Beatles Club. I was the president of the Beatles Club my senior year. Obsessed with the Beatles, obsessed with the Beach Boys, obsessed with the Rolling Stones. And when I say obsessed, I'm not talking lightly here. Like I know like almost everything about like all these people.
What about the Doors? Did you like the
Doors?
Oh,
I love the Doors, man. Yeah, I love the Doors. I'm a big Morrison Hotel.
Oh, okay,
I like Land Ho,
Peace
Ship
Frog.
of Fools, Peace Frog. Yeah, that's my shit right there. Yeah, Morrison Hotel. That's my Morrison Hotel, and I like the Soft Parade. I like the song "The Soft Parade" a lot. It's a really good one. It's weird. It's a really weird one.
Yeah, it's got strange.
The Soft Parade has now begun. Listen to the engines hum.
Right.
So sick.
Yeah. Land Ho, man, I'll never forget the first time I listened to that.
Oh yeah.
It was in Graham Powers was with me. We went to high school together.
No shit.
And we were riding in my car. He's like, Jordan, you got to hear this song. And we had just got done smoking weed on the bridge, and we're like looking at this overview, and he's like, Land Ho by the Doors. And I just remember the pause in the song. Land Ho.
Right. So fucking good.
I had not heard anything like that.
I love that song because it's like it's just a little faster for them, like some of their music's a little like mid-tempo, which I mean, like I love the Doors, but like sometimes like I love the fast one, Right. I always gravitate towards like the fast, really quick one. It's probably because I grew up listening to punk music,
Right.
Like everything needed to be fast at a certain point. But then, like, meeting Christian was hilarious because, like, Christian and I's, like, bond is so strange because, like, we hear songs in completely different ways most of the time. Like, I'll show him something or I'll play him something, and what he plays back to me is, like, completely different than what I was imagining was about to happen, but it's also, like, way better. It's always better. And then I'm like, okay, at a certain point, I just let Christian do, if Christian wants to do something, I'd let him do it, because it's always better than what I had thought of, and he can execute it, but yeah, he was a big influence on me, actually, and like learning like how to work with people. But then
Christian Barraks.
Yeah, Christian Barraks, man.
Oh,
that's my dog. He's my best friend. And Mama would be proud. Essentially, like we have Sam is in the band as permanent member now, and Joe's in the band as permanent member too. But essentially, the band has always been me and Christian. It started by me bringing my multi-track recorder over to his house and us recording a couple songs, and then from there I was just like, let's do an album, and then we made an album, and we put it out on MySpace, and then we made another album the next month, and put it out on MySpace too. It's just I could not be stopped. I don't know what was wrong with me. I put out so much music so quickly, and then I never stopped doing that. And I have to reel it in, or lately I've been all right, we'll hold on to these songs. When the band can all get together, we will record them, as opposed to just me being song's done, let's record, and put it out, that's the way my brain works. I'm record it, get it done, put it out, it's done, new song. I don't want to do all the other shit most of the time. I wish I wanted to do the other shit, or I wish somebody would do it, but that's just never been the way that my brains work. I wish it worked that way. I always try. I've been trying to get better in promoting and or trying to send the music to other people, but it's really hard. People don't get back to you ever.
Right.
But what can you do?
Keep writing more music.
Yeah.
So, how did your album 14 Most Beloved Melodies come about?
So like I was just saying, we put out a lot of music in a really short amount of time in the early days, and ever since then, literally ever since 2011, after we put out our fifth or sixth album on once we figured out Bandcamp, all bets were off. I was I can put everything in one place. It's just the best. All bets were off at that point. I was Bandcamp dump. And ever since then, people have been saying, you need a compilation of all your best songs. It's what my dad would say, what every adult would say to me is you just need one album that's just all the best ones. And so I'd be okay, and I was always seems really silly. We've only been a band for 2 years, But the more I thought about it, I was a lot of bands that, especially DIY people who do a lot of home recordings and tape recordings, a lot of the times when an album would come out, it would be a compilation. Our Stevie Moore has a bunch of albums that are basically just compilations, because what he does is just record on tapes at his house all day long. And so eventually there are songs there and people compile them and put them onto a thing. But that's not really what I've done. I've always just made albums in my head. I've make an album, put it on the internet, just an album's worth of songs, and that's the way I think about things. So all that piled up for a really long time. And so I figured I should just do it. I should just make album cover for it and make a compilation. And then I want to make a CD for it, so I can actually sell the CD of all the. So the songs span literally from 2009. There's a song on there, Me No Smart. That was on our third album that we did. That's from 2009. It's got me stabbing a mug filled with loose change as a percussion instrument. So the rhythm in the song goes. Every time it does that, I would go, and I'd stab into the mug filled with change, and it just all go everywhere, but it would make this great sound. And I'd put the mic right up close to it, get real hot. The multi-track thing that I use, it shouldn't sound very good, but if you let it ride on that red, where it's getting hot, it sounds beautiful actually, and it crunches. It sounds really good. Everything just sounds like really crunchy and cool, and I just became obsessed with finding ways to use that cool crunchy sound and make songs out of it, basically. And that kind of became the whole basis for the band, until we couldn't use that machine anymore. And then I got it fixed, and I still use it now. But so the songs on the album, they're from 2009, and then there's one that came out a year ago from the new album, I Just Love You. Has Joe on saxophone and Sam on clarinet, Christian on drums, Sam on bass, me on guitar, and it's I Just Love You. It's a song about my girlfriend, Allie. I wrote it for her because, I mean, I was like, I told her, I was like, I'm going to write you a song, baby. And I was like, I want to write like the cockiest like song possible. Like I because like you hear all these like awesome like 70s rock stuff, you know, and it's like so like, you know, like you are my woman, and like, you know, there's like man energy, you know. And I was just like, all right, you know, like that is something I've never really explored in my music before. Somehow, you know, it never really came up. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna write like just like straight up, just like, and just like a really positive song about my girlfriend. And then so that song's the last song on the album. So you get the whole gambit. The whole 15 years that we've been a band is covered there. There's a couple releases that didn't get any representation on it. That's just because I didn't think they fit.
Yeah.
Like we have some more electronic releases from like 8 years ago, and I like that stuff a lot. But it doesn't really like. A lot of it's stuff I did on my own, just in my room messing around with synthesizers, you know. And so it doesn't really like. I know I put it out under Mama Would Be Proud, you know, and it is technically a Mama Would Be Proud release, but I didn't feel like putting it on a compilation because some of that stuff is just like, that's not really band stuff to me. It's like, that's just kind of the wild shit I was making in 2016. Yeah. And shit was weird.
Right. So what would you say like inspires your creativity?
It can be anything. Honestly, feel like the biggest thing for me in a lot of the songs is my friendships and relationships with people. You know, just like being friends and wanting to send out like a good message. Oh shit. Wanting to like send out like a good message, wanting to send out like positive vibes, or just like, you know, like I miss all that. You know, like, kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when I write a song, I'm like directly communicating with everybody I know, and like, or like, okay, you know the scene in Walk the Line at the very beginning when he's in the audition and he's like, if you was out there in that gutter and you was dying, what's the song you want to play for people? What's the song about your time on this earth that you want people to hear? Let me hear that song. I love that movie when I was a kid. And I feel like in a way I've always fucking like that's in the back of my mind. Like I don't write a song like unless it's like, you know, like I could fucking die and this might be the last fucking thing I write. Which is kind of hilarious because I have like hundreds of songs and like I'm always in that state of like, if I fucking die, it's silly. But I don't know, something about like that little bit of advice is just kind of like, just leave it all. Like for me, like I've just kind of put it all out there most of the time. And sometimes if I try to have like a theme or an idea in a song and try to stick to it, it inevitably turns into a song about something else, you know, or like lyrics end up in there that have nothing to do with what I thought the idea was, you know, and I might not figure out what it's about until later, or I might never know what it's about. It might always just be nonsense to me. Or rhyming, just in general. I love rhyming. Like Bob Dylan, I love to rhyme. So a lot of times I'll just rhyme. And I'll figure out the rhyme before I finish the line. Like, I'll be like, okay, this word's going to rhyme with that word. What's something that ends in that word? It's like a puzzle. It's kind of like a game. It's like filling out, you know, like, or coloring by numbers at a certain point. You know, like, you're like, this piece does not fit anymore, or this is like the wrong color. It should be, you know, I should shade this in instead, you know. So, it's like, that's the way I do it a lot of times. It's like, figure out the rhyme, or like, and then you can change it at any time. You can change it after you've recorded and put out the song. It doesn't matter. Like I said, half the time no one's watching, you know. So it's like I change lyrics in songs and I'll sing them live different. We have like this one song, Bonfire, off of our album Ways to Feel Awake, which is kind of like our like Dark Night of the Soul depressing album. It's like the most like sad one and like kind of like messy one. But there's a song on it, Bonfire, and one time I was singing it live, and I totally just blanked on like the second verse, and so I started singing something else, and now I sing what I sang on that night because I recorded it, and I like did a voice memo of the whole show, and when I listened back, I was like, that improv verse, pretty fucking good. And like at a certain point, it's like I was listening back to it. I'm like screaming these words, and I'm like, I didn't even know what I was singing. You know, I was trying to fill in the space because I couldn't remember what I was supposed to sing, and now I sing that because it's better. You know,
Yeah.
And it's like we don't have a recording of the new version, but you know, I do, so I sing that. You know, when we play that song.
Nice.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like I never know. It's always different writing songs. It's always sometimes a song happens really quickly, and within 35 minutes, it's basically done, and all I need to do is record it. And that might take longer, but it's written, it's there on the page half the time, and then the other half the time, I think I have a really cool idea, and then I try to finish it, and I hate it. And I'm like, this is no good. Or I kind of like it, and I am always working on it, and it never gets finished because I only kind of like it.
Oh yeah.
I have like hundreds, probably like 100 songs that are like that, where it's just like half done. I kind of like it. There's like 3 lines in there that I'm like, that's a good line. The rest of it, I'm like, the melody is meh. A lot of bum lines, you know. Like, I don't know, the more you write lyrics, the more you can recognize your own bum lines.
Right.
And looking back is hard because you're like bum line.
Yeah, you're like,
wow, dude, edit yourself. You know, like that's like me listening back. My critical brain of myself, I'm like,
you hear all the mistakes.
Like what were you thinking? Like, did you really need that third rhyme? Like 3 rhymes of the one? Okay. Like it's just like weird shit, you know.
So how would you best describe the type of artist you are?
I would say I would just say I'm an indie or I mean I guess I don't know if I would I guess I'm an indie folk rock songwriter who also sings and plays guitar. Because like I've always imagined like with the way that like our band works and like how lax we are about stuff, like and how casual we all have normal jobs, you know, and we all are pretty comfortable with the fact that we'll probably always have normal jobs, but we also really want to be in this band, and when we do stuff for the band, like we're really excited, you know. It's like the funnest thing for us, and we don't get to do it as much as we used to, but when we did an ambient show a couple months ago. It was the funnest thing we like that. Like we prepared 4 brand new ambient songs, just music we will probably never play again. But we prepared for 2 months. We practiced like every other week. We would get together, get everybody brought out synthesizers, and we're like playing like all this weird, like playing together all this weird shit, and it was just awesome. You know, like we just had the best fucking time. So it's like we all really like being in the band, and that's what I like about the way we have it all set up. But yeah, I mean, I'm a songwriter.
Right.
There's that Van Morrison song called "I'm a Songwriter." Tells you all you need to know.
I feel that. So, what would you say your strengths and weaknesses as an artist are?
Ooh, definitely my weakness is like self-editing, lack of professionalism, lack of ambition at times, maybe even. I feel like, and then like the other side of that same coin might be like delusions of grandeur, like it's like, I'm like, yeah, we're like the best fucking band in the world, obviously. Like, we're the bomb. But then I'm also like, I don't know, like, should I produce a physical copy of the CD? I don't think people are gonna buy it. Like there's like this part of me that's like, I don't see people, not banging on my door to fucking get this CD. Like it's for the people in my immediate community who want to check it out every now and then. Like, what am I going to do? Like hound them for fucking $25? Like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, so I would say like that. And then like, I would say my strength is my tenacity. I can't help myself from writing music. It's there. It's all there. And there will be more.
It'll never end.
It will never end.
So, how long have you been in Nashville now?
Since 2010. Yeah, so it'll be 14 years in August. 13 and a half years almost.
What initially brought you here?
Belmont, yeah. And my aunt and uncle lived down in Brentwood. So I visited Nashville before to like go to like Thanksgiving at their house once or twice. And I loved the fact that there was hills in Nashville. In Texas, there are no hills. It's very flat. So, or at least in Plano, there aren't any hills. And so I was like, when we came here, I was like, mountains. And then like, everybody's just like, there aren't mountains in fucking Nashville, you loser. And I'm like, well, they're really big hills, all right? And I love it here. So I want to go to the college here. And then, yeah, the recruiter at Belmont got me real good. He was just like, we got a lot of people like you, and he was just like, made it seem like it was the greatest. So, it was great. I liked being at Belmont. I probably shouldn't have been a songwriting major. I didn't know that, going into it, I didn't know that songwriting classes didn't start until you were a sophomore. And then by the time you're a sophomore and starting the songwriting classes, if you decide that you want to switch majors, that's a whole nother year of classes that you're going to need to do. So I was like, once I discovered I didn't really like the songwriting program very much, I was like, it's a little late. If I switch majors, that's a whole nother year of tuition that we're going to have to pay. And I was like, fuck that. I'll just write it out and I'll be a songwriting major. And yeah, it's probably not a great choice, but I did it. Yeah. I only know one successful person who came out of that world, that songwriting school world of Belmont specifically.
Oh yeah,
Mackenzie Scott Torres. You ever heard of Torres?
I think so.
She's a like a kind of like a, honestly, kind of like a folkier version of like St. Vincent or something. She's a great guitar player, great lyrics and vocals and arrangements and cool instrumentation and stuff, especially on the newer stuff. She was a little bit older than me, and she was also there at that time. And she's now she's been signed to a couple different really big labels. So she's got her own thing going. But she's like the only other person I know from that world who ever came of anything, at least in like the communities that I look at and the spaces that I look at. Like everybody else who was at Belmont was like DIY indie music was not on their radar. Like the closest, I had to like I was like holding back and being like, here, they're like, what's some lyrics you like? I'd be like, here's a Modest Mouse song, and they'd be like, who's that? And I'd be like, I was trying to show you something I thought you would have heard of. Like it was like weird, like growing up in Texas, I don't know, or at least in like Dallas, city, Texas. But I feel like people say growing up in Texas, and what they mean is growing up in the middle of nowhere in Texas. But no, it's like I grew up in Texas is like the city, the suburbs, the people everywhere. You know, like you run into like any kind of person, they might be into any kind of thing. You know, there's a store for everything, you know, in Dallas. It's like, I call it the capitalist capital of America.
How many people in Dallas?
Are in Dallas? Like, I don't know.
Like
1.28 million as of 2021 in Dallas.
What is Metro Dallas?
Metro Dallas?
Yeah, what is the population of Metro Dallas?
So that's it, 1.28 million.
Does it say Metro?
And then it says, well, I don't know. Maybe if I looked in...
Hit Metro Dallas. Let's see what that...
Oh shit!
7 million.
Yeah. Oh, so that's like probably Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington. Oh, I see. Okay, so yeah, that includes a lot of different. Because that's pretty wide though.
That's like 3.5 times bigger than Nashville.
Really? And is that like
2 million metro?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know what Nashville for just the city is?
647,000. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's like a store for everything, and there's like 3 of them. It's like wild, and like Whataburgers on every corner. Oh, take me back. I wanna go Whataburger. Sandy Cheeks.
Oh yeah,
big inspiration on Mom Will Be Proud. Sandy Cheeks.
What would you say is something you've learned living here?
Shit. That's actually. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I could do a whole podcast about things I've learned in Nashville.
I guess maybe the biggest.
But I had a really big turning point. Because when I was by the time I was like a senior in high school, I was telling you, at a certain point, stopped listening to punk music because I thought it wasn't cool anymore, and I thought I was cooler than that. So I had gotten like so up my own ass that I was just listening to like bebop, cool jazz, like 50s jazz, and like rock and roll, and like I loved like Little Richard and Chuck Berry and shit, and I was very, very like against like effects and electronics. I was like, that's bullshit. I was like one of those idiots who was just like, fucking fake, computerized drum machines have no soul, like all that stuff. I was that kid when I was 18. I was like, I listened to Little Richard. I don't know what you mean. What? Who's bass nectar? No. I was like really stupid, But when I went to college and when you go to college and you don't have any friends when you go to college, like if you go somewhere where you don't know anybody previously, you just start hanging out with all kinds of people, basically. So I started hanging out with like people who I wouldn't normally hang out with, I guess. And I discovered that people who like the Grateful Dead are very, very nice. And they helped me, and they like let me hang out with them. And so I got into the Grateful Dead because of that. And then I also realized that everything that I thought about electronic music was completely wrong and had no basis in reality. Everything that I had, like, all the opinions that I thought I had were just completely, like, thrown out the window. I met a musician, David, my friend David. He went by Smiletron back then. Now he goes by Triangles. But I met him, and he's the first person I ever met who made electronic music. And so sometimes I feel like all I need to get into something is just to have a friend show me or like tell me, hey, this is really good. And then I'll be like, yeah, it is, or I'll be like, what are you doing? And then he's like, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, that's really cool. Like I watched him make music with Game Boys and computers, wow. And it was like the most incredible music I've ever heard. It's just like, still to this day, me and my friends, we still were like, still go back to that Smiletron shit, like, and we're like, yeah, like we're all just like, kind of hard to top it, like he influenced so many people around us at that time, and just by the way that he did it, and he was just like day in day out working on tracks, just adding stuff. And he just does it, like half time on a computer, half time like on a Game Boy, basically, is like his deal. He was like he's kind of one of those, not like the first generation of chiptune people, but, like second or third, like people who are still in that community, they might know who he is, That dude, anybody knew about the Break Fest up in, I think it was in Michigan, but yeah, he played that festival a couple times, and dude, I mean, his music is just incredible. I never realized, I thought all electronic music's purpose was like not even like this is a bad thing, but I didn't I thought it was all for dancing. I thought it was all for clubs, and I thought it was supposed to be something you didn't have to pay attention to. I didn't really realize that it could be something you could pay attention to musically. Composition wise, or rhythmically, or anything. I had the most narrow-minded view. I can't stress this enough. I had the most narrow-minded view of electronic music before I came to Nashville and met David. And then meeting him and watching him make music, and he makes drum and bass, trance stuff that kind of not in psych trance kind of stuff, or dubstep, and kind of got into that area too. And like I said, chiptune with the Game Boy, but he kind of had this way of melding it all together, and then also just having these really simple, beautiful melodies that go over his really interesting chords that he's using over these the drum and bass, what have you, whatever rhythm he was working with, he'd have these really interesting chords, and then he'd have this really simple melody that would come over it, and it'd just be the catchiest fucking thing, or just really peaceful, and just kind of instant zen for your brain kind of music,
Wow.
It's so organized. It's just the most organized compositions I've ever heard. He's wild.
And it was all made on Game Boys?
No, not all of it. Some of it.
What would he use from the Game Boy for?
It's a cartridge that it's called LSDJ. That's how people make chiptune music. Is you make it directly on the Game Boy. It's like a game that you put in. Oh, it's really interesting. You'd love it. Yeah, it's a black and white screen, and it's just got lines and columns with different numerical values, and then you're basically flipping through different screens, changing things, and it all corresponds to tones and sounds that are 8-bit, and could be replicated through the speakers of a Game Boy. But if you take the audio out, put it into a computer, you can edit it and make it sound a little nicer,
Yeah.
You can put a little compressor on it and make it boost it up, and dude, there's the things you can do to the stuff that comes out of that Game Boy.
Wow.
But it's the full-blown program for arranging music on a Game Boy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. You should definitely look into LSDJ if you've never heard of that. Yeah, it's wild. It's super, EDM world.
Oh yeah.
Coded, do some Molly, make some chiptune. Let's do this.
That's hilarious. Now I know exactly what you're talking about, the chiptune.
Yeah. Yeah, when a lot of what happened because of that program and people making chiptune music is people will cover albums, or people will cover something 8-bit chiptune cover.
Yeah.
So for a while, people were actually doing the legwork, going into their Game Boy, and typing in the numerical values and what have you, and they'd really, really cover the song. Now what people do is they plug it into their Logic and Pro Tools, they put it through the 8-bit filter, or they just hit 8-bit, translate into 8-bit when it goes into the data, and it spits it back out, sounds like 8-bit. You can do a whole album real quick and edit it, make it sound nice,
Right.
Yeah, like you can just like put it into the fucking Pro Tools and it'll just grid it out for you.
Wow. That's awesome. I know people that use the Game Boy to take pictures.
Yeah, I remember the Pokemon game that had the camera, Poke camera. Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, Pokemon Snap. So, do you have a favorite venue?
Ooh, currently Dark Matter. Hands down, Dark Matter. They are the most supportive venue in town. Also, just really cool space. I like a smaller space. It's very neat. Like just like the whole like vibe in there is just very comforting. It feels like home base in a way, even though we've only played there once. We played at the old location once. I saw more shows at the old location actually, because that was kind of like my season when I was still like going to shows all the time, like local shows and stuff. These days I'm chilling at home. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm 32. I'm chilling at home. Like, I get home from work, I might work on music, I might cover some songs. It's like most of the time I'm chilling. Unless inspiration strikes me, I kind of don't. Kind of just hang out,
Right?
Yeah, and like occasionally I get the inspiration to try to like do some self promotion. I'll start emailing people, but then I remember that doesn't work. then I go back to writing songs. But where did this come from?
Dark Matter.
Dark Matter's fucking awesome. I loved Exit In. I know it went away for a while and it's back. I haven't been since it's been back, but that place is amazing. The End has always been really good to us. What's his name? Bruce over at The End. Fucking awesome. Nice guy.
Dude, yeah, Dark Matter. I always feel like it's like the cool after school. It has cool after school vibes because
Yes.
it's got the VHS.
Yes, the VHSs.
And I'm like, wow, it reminds me of like an after school, like where kids would hang out.
It's like a cafe almost.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it has like this almost like diner cafe kind of look to like the way the bar is set up. I love it. I love that aspect of it. That's very comforting. It's like a little low stakes, but it's also nice. It's also very nice.
And I love having all the VHSs to look at.
Yeah, right. It's awesome.
So, what is some advice you would give to someone who's going to move here and do art or music?
I would say, you pretty much it's gonna be hard, especially if you're going to try to have making music be the way that you're gonna make money. I'd say like that's gonna be really, really hard. But if you're not really concerned about any of that and you would like advice like artistically, I would say you don't need permission to make whatever you want to make, and just be honest to yourself. The people who I respect the most are people who are like shamelessly themselves, and like it's like Daniel Johnson, David Berntman of Silver Jews, Bob Dylan, like all the Neil Young, like people with weird voices. The David Berntman quote, "All my favorite singers couldn't sing," kind of mentality. Or like Animal Collective, like their Flaming Lips. Their early music is like ridiculous. Like if you try to listen to some of those early records, like it's like wild, loud music that is like balls to the wall, psychotic. Or like Animal Collective's early music is like harsh, and like there's like the whole first Animal Collective album has like these really high pitched ringings the whole time, and it's like you're like, am I being like assaulted? And you're like, but over time you're like, oh no, I really like those high pitched noises. Like eventually you're like, this is great. So I would say, yeah, like just do you, and be true to what you want to do, you know, like, and that will steer you in the right direction, regardless of how, you know, how many people are looking at you, you know, or, you know, whatever. It's like, if what you want to do is become part of a scene, you know, and like, you want to say, like, you want to make like emo music, you want to make like post-hardcore emo music, there's places, you know, like, you can do that, you know, like, fucking do it, you know, like, if that's what you want to do, go do that, you know, like, make it interesting, you know, like, make it you, you know. But that'd be my advice, is just like, just be honest to yourself, and don't wait for somebody to like tell you they're looking for something, you know, like, just make it.
Yeah, don't wait for permission.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't wait for a letter to fall out of the sky.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The A&R guy is not at the back of the venue. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Right.
The A&R guy will only be at the back of the venue if it's sold out and it's like 5,000 capacity. You know, then there might be an A&R guy back there who's got a contract that he's not going to let you read, but he needs you to sign it tonight. Right. Then the only way an A&R guy comes out to anybody is if there's already plenty of money involved. You know, like, the music industry is gutted. You know, like, it used to be a situation where I think, you know, like, A&R people were out there trying to find people who were developing, you know, like, or getting started, you know, or never gonna make it, you know, like, you people used to get pulled out, kind of. Now, the only people who really get that sort of traction are people who are already out there grinding, you know, and God bless them, you know, because it's like, that's the only way you can get it done these days. You gotta be out there grinding. You already have had to have sold so many records, you know, and like, that's how you get a good record deal these days, you know.
Yeah.
Even from an independent label, you know, like, they want to see butts at shows.
Numbers.
You know? Yeah. I mean, the bottom line's still there, you know, whether you ignore it or not. Which you can. You can ignore the bottom line.
But you might get left behind.
You might get very left behind, yeah.
So, reflecting back on when you first started as an artist, what is like one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome, and how did you get through it?
Oh, man. The biggest challenge that we faced as a band, or I mean, for me, my idea of myself as an artist is pretty much inextricable from Mama Would Be Proud, the band, you know, because it's been my main thing since I started doing it when I was 17 with Christian. So the biggest obstacle that we really faced together, me and Christian, was probably going to college, actually, because we had like a whole like year and a half of recording at my house, and at his house, and at Evan's house. We had like a whole year and a half at the end of high school. It was just like almost every other day, you know, we'd freaking, you know, like, just get blazed, go home, try to record something, you know. And that's what you hear on those early records. You hear us stoned in my bedroom trying to record something, you know, and half the time I would have written the song like the night before, you know, or, you know, like, while we were like, we would like make a little track and then I'd sing something over it, you know. Sometimes it works like that. You do a music thing that you like, you sing a song over it. But the biggest obstacle was, after that year being together, he went to college in New Orleans and I went to Nashville. And so I was here for a year by myself, without a band and without my main recording partner. And so I basically, I just recorded an album by myself while writing an album for the band to play when we were at Christmas. And that ended up being our album, Big Neighborhoods with Big Houses. And I still really like that one. That's like a really good one. And then I did it again the next semester. So that was the way I overcame it. I was just like, well, I'll record on my own, and I can separate music that I'm recording on my own and like me experimenting a little more by myself from things that I know I want to be done in this like group setting with the band and with the guys. You know, it's like that was like a big thing for me because it had started out, it was all just me and Christian doing all of that. And then it got to the point where I was like, oh, okay, wait, I need to like think. It just being, I guess, basically the biggest thing I've learned and the biggest thing, you know, is like having intent, you know? Like when you're working on something, if you're just messing around, you can already know that you're just messing around, you know, like, or it's like, this is just going to go on this, you know, or it's like, I'm writing this song's coming out good. This is going to go for the band. You know, we're going to do this together. This needs all of us in it or something like that. You know, like have intent. And then also it's like that works with lyrics too. You know, it's like say what you're trying to say, you know, and sometimes the whole grab bag, you know, like what is it? You know, like mix and match words just because it make them all jumbled just to sound. Sometimes it doesn't really. Sometimes it's not that interesting, you know. Sometimes it's more interesting to have intent and have a theme that you stick to, you know.
Yeah,
That's kind of like something I've realized. Or yeah, and then also like do the same thing with like being loud and being quiet, like with your dynamics as a band, you know. Like we used to be really loud and we had a lot of really loud really loud recordings, and then eventually me and Christian became obsessed with trying to like make like quieter music and like softer music. And then like I listened to the recordings. It's really funny because we wanted to make this softer music, but then sometimes you listen to it and it's still like, it's like we had the gain all the way up at 10 still, but we're just playing really quietly into these really hot mics, you know, like it's like wild. I don't know. There's lots I'm rambling.
Well, good. So what would you say is like your biggest personal growth from last year to this year?
Ooh, man. Personal growth from last year to this year. I have, I mean, honestly, a lot of my personal growth in the last year has been like personal stuff with like me and my girlfriend. It was like, you know, like we're about to be getting into the next like phase of our life, you know, like I'm like starting to like plan on like getting a ring, you know, and like we've been dating for a while, you know, like we both know it's coming, you know. Like I can say it. I'm not like spoiling anything. Like, you know, I'm thinking about getting a ring, you know.
Yeah.
And so like that's happening, and you know, like to get better, I like my work resume is like awful. You know, so luckily I work for my friend now at Spicy Boys, and when I first started working there, I never cooked. I just didn't. I didn't like cooking. I still kind of don't cook for myself much at home. I make sandwiches for myself. That's about it. But since working at Spicy Boys, like I was telling you today, I'm literally like the only person there, you know, half the time that I'm working during my morning shifts because it's not so busy during the weekdays, you know. It's a bar, you know, it's more of a night scene, but, you know, people come for lunch. But, you know, now I'm making food all the time. And, like, I learned how to make gumbo. I make roux for Spicy Boys with flour and oil that you can't stop stirring for about 2 hours. You just have to go. And it takes a really long time. And it just, like, slowly burns. And it gets to be this color. That's what gives the gumbo the color that it has and the consistency that it has. I just, like, learned a lot about a thing that I never really thought I ever wanted to learn about. And sometimes sometimes that's what you need in life to just kind of like to move you in any sort of direction. You know, it's like, oh well, now you're doing this. You know, and just say yes. You know, like when Justin asked me, he was like, "You want to work at Spicy Boys?" I was like, "I don't know if I want to work in a restaurant again." I was like, "I don't know if I want to do that." But I said yes. So now I know how to make Cajun food, which is awesome, you know, like, yeah. And it's cool. And like, I'm going to like be a manager, you know, I'm going to be like the daytime manager as of next month,
Awesome.
And so like, that's personal growth for me. Like, it's all very personal,
For sure. So how can people support you as an artist?
You can listen to our music. That would be awesome. If you want to buy it, you can go to any of the places you normally would buy downloadable music, and you can download it and pay us for it. That would be awesome too. But honestly, just listen to our music. Tell your friends about our music if you like it. If you think you know somebody who would like Mama Would Be Proud's music, I would love it if you would show them. That'd be great. That's pretty much all we need. We pretty much rely on that. We don't have like a management team. We don't have promotion behind us. It's just us posting and our friends posting. So
what if they want to help you financially?
Bandcamp. Bandcamp's the
They
way to
can
go.
donate money.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Venmo, but you don't need to do that. Bandcamp has donate function, I think, and it also has you can buy our discography for any price. I think the minimum price for the whole discography right now is like $8-9 or something, and that's like 20 albums of music that you'll be able to download. But also, that is the easiest way to financially help the band and me as well, is to go and buy that stuff, because it's all just sitting there, and you can have it, and I would say that's probably the easiest way to financially support the band is Bandcamp.
Cool. All right, now changing areas here. How do you like to consume media? Do you like YouTube? Do you?
Yeah, I do all sorts of ways. I use Apple Music to stream music. I use Spotify to stream podcasts because it's just the easiest one to use. I stopped using it for music. One day I felt particularly impassioned. I was like, Spotify is lame. They don't even pay people. So I switched to Apple Music. Oh, big move. It was stupid, but I did it, and now I'm on Apple Music. But I still use Spotify to do podcasts. But yeah, YouTube is great because there's so much music that exists. I'm a big record collector. Me and my girlfriend Allie, we collect records. We both have a humongous record collection. It's gotten out of hand, and I don't see it stopping. We love going to the record store and finding records, cheap records, nice records, you name it. We love them, and so what I've discovered is that sometimes you'll go and you'll see something that looks really fucking cool. And so you'll take it and you'll go home and you'll listen to it and you're like, this is sweet. It sounds as good as it, as it looks. And so like you look for it on the internet or on streaming or like Spotify or Apple Music and it's not there. And you're like, why? This is like let's just say this is a George Jones album. Like, why the fuck? Or like, why isn't it on streaming? Or like, this is like, like by like a big country artist. Like, why isn't this album that I bought at The Great Escape not on streaming? And there's a lot of answers to that question. But YouTube is awesome because it's probably on there.
Right.
Like somebody's uploaded it, or at least like,
or maybe a live show.
Yeah, or like a song or two from that album you can find on YouTube. So it's like, if you ever want to go back and stream something that you actually own that isn't on a music streaming platform, YouTube actually might have it. Like, I bought a bunch of like Slim Whitman albums. He's got a couple that like are like studio albums that came out in like the 50s or the 60s or like the early 60s. They're not on streaming services, but I'm pretty sure that they're like some of his most popular albums. They're on YouTube in full. That's a Slim Whitman Song of the Water Wheel and a Song of the Waterfall. But I'd say like I knew Slim Whitman from is it Indian Love Call? Like I've heard that before. Like I've heard his like yodeling kind of style voice before, but I like one time I was just in a record store and I saw a picture of this album Song of the Water Wheel. Pull those up. And I was just like, no way that this album isn't awesome. Like, that's like the coolest album cover I've ever seen. You know, I was just like, wow, gotta have it. You know, like I'm of the belief that with record collecting, you can judge a book by its cover. Yeah. Because you're not gonna listen to it if you don't like the cover. Right. I don't know why our brains work that way, but like if you don't look at that thing and think cool, you're probably not gonna listen to it very often, you know? So if I see a record that I think looks cool, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll let me check it out. I got it. It's fucking sweet. You know, it's like got sounds of water wheels on it with God. The country and like all the crazy slides and him going like, oh, song of the waterfall. It's like also with the water wheel sounds. It's so sick. I was like, this is badass, you know. So yeah, I love doing that. Love going to the record store and getting something that you wouldn't normally pick up, right, but discovering it's one of your favorite things. And then like trying to find it, YouTube's always the best way to go. Like that album is not on streaming services, but it is on YouTube. Or at least that song is.
Do you have any like favorite things you like to watch on YouTube?
Yeah, I got a couple things that I watch. I mean, like I watch like stuff about the Beatles. I watch a couple different channels about the Beatles. I watch you know, What Makes This Song Stink, about Pat Finnerty. He has like a series on like musically like what makes a song irritating or terrible. And he like gets really into the nitty gritty of like music theory about why something sucks, kind of. And he's also very funny. His videos are great. Like he does one about like Danny California. Oh, really? Like one about like kryptonite. Oh, the newest one's about try that in a small town. Oh God, that one's a trip. But what else do I like on YouTube? I mean, I watch.
You watch any documentaries or movies or anything?
I mean, I have. There's a really good Sparkle Horse documentary.
Dude, Sparkle Horse.
Yeah.
Christian was the first person who told me about
it couldn't be a mom would be proud interview without mentioning Sparkle Horse. Yeah, it's one of me and Christian's favorite bands for sure. So good. Yeah, but there's a great footage of that band. I mean, like I like YouTube for that purpose as well, like just watching live footage of bands, whether it's like a sessions thing or it's like an actual video from a show. Yeah, love YouTube for that. It's great.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you would like to add that I might not have asked you about?
Shoot. I don't know. If I forgot to mention you and you feel like I should have, I miss you. Sorry.
Cool. Well, here's the last question. What is something absurd you'll ever do?
Ooh, something absurd I'll ever do? I mean, okay, it's classic. Maybe it's not so absurd, but me and my girlfriend are constantly putting our pets' names into songs. Or like, we're always referring to our dog. We have a little dog named Lila. She's 16. She's blind. She's only been blind for like a year, so it's kind of like been a weird year for her. But so like we're always singing Lila into songs, or Big Guy or Beej. So because like we call him his name is Big Guy, but we call him the Beej. And what's good is because Lila works well in songs with like any lyric with like I in it. So it'd be like, you know, like Wing's silly love songs where he's like, I love you. You'd be like, Lila loves you. You know, or like, we also call her June. So that works really good with you. So you'd be like, I love June. And so we're always singing to our dogs or to our dog and to our cat and putting their names into songs, which is pretty stupid, but I'm literally doing it all the time.
That's
and
awesome.
It brings me joy, like a lot of joy.
And they appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Well, dude, yeah, thanks for coming on here and doing this.
Appreciate you, man. It's been awesome. I love it. I love the podcast. You do great work.
Thank you.
People need to represent Nashville, and I'm happy that you're one of the people doing it.
Appreciate that. Hell yeah. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, man.